I don't remember actually meeting Joyce. Have you ever known anybody that long that you can't remember when you were introduced? We started out together in elementary school at DeGiusti, and we've been together basically ever since.
She was a bright student. She was always on the principal's honor roll.
And when they made the plan, we were able to travel the northern route. And for the first time in many of our lives, we were able to sit down in a restaurant and drink a Coke. Not in the black section or the colored section, but in the restaurant itself. But as we were taught that a little bit of freedom is a dangerous thing. So after we went to New York and came back, the southern route, facing the age-old discriminations, colored water fountains and white water fountains and telephone booths and restroom. When we came back to Oklahoma City, we said we had enough. The civil rights movement, the sit-in movement, as you know it presently, that started August 18, 1958, changed the course of American history. The nonviolent movement was more successful here in the state of Oklahoma than any place else in the United States. It was because of the community here in Oklahoma. Joyce was a part of the movement. As you look through the pictures, you see her singing and smiling and talking to others, because that was our job. We were a part of an army to change the course of history. We were able to go to the March on Washington together. Hear Martin Luther King make that speech in person, not on TV, but in person, changed the course of our life.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
You know, I was really fortunate to not only know Joyce professionally and to get to work with her, but I was also fortunate to be one of Joyce's parents, because both of our children attended Classen and were there when Joyce was principal. So I got to see Joyce from a couple of different vantage points. Joyce indeed is the mother of Classen. As a principal for Joyce, there isn't such a thing as failure. It's not a part of her being. There were a lot of hurdles to get Classen open. Right up until the night before the first day of school at Classen School of Advanced Studies. There was the hurdle of furniture had just arrived a few days earlier and none of the classrooms were set up. Well, you know what? Joyce rallied hundreds of volunteers, and that school opened when it was supposed to open the next day, and every classroom had furniture in it, and it was ready to go. But to me, that just exemplified Joyce Henderson. No such thing as failure, complete can-do attitude under any circumstances. Where there's a will, there's always a way where Joyce is concerned.
Her biggest contribution will be known as the contribution that she's made to young people in directing and changing their lives, showing them that in spite of anything that you've gone through, in spite of the poverty you grew up in spite of the situations, you can be anything you want to be.
You know, public education, if you will, as an industry, is, and I guess this is stating the obvious, but it's all about people. It's all about trying to get young people to develop in very positive ways and begin very successful and sustain successful lives. For Joyce, it was always about every child she encountered was going to succeed. It got down to a very personal level for her where she was totally invested. I don't know anyone, I've never encountered anyone with that quality that Joyce possesses.
I look at Joyce a lot of times and she reminds me so much of my mother because she's well organized. She has a wonderful personality, says exactly what's on her mind, and goes on and takes care of business.
Joyce's strategy, and frankly, I feel like I've learned this from her, can't do it anywhere near as well as her, but you have got to form relationships with people first to enable them to succeed in the ways that you're wanting to cause them to succeed. And I think that's Joyce's greatest imprint on all who were fortunate enough to be with her in Oklahoma City.
Joyce has played the piano in the church for years. She also is a great mother, a great grandmother, and Gerald would tell you a superb wife. I've seen situations where people have been crying and she turned those tears into laughter. She knows how to complete a job, how to start it, organize it, and complete it, which is very rare in our society today.
Very rarely did Joyce talk about her own personal history and growing up and so forth. But every once in a while, we get involved in a lunch discussion, and I'd hear from Joyce things that I had never heard before in terms of her own personal struggles. So I suspect that all of those experiences growing up just fueled a determination in Joyce to make it right for other people and to make it right for the community.